This is a farm named Rancho del Rio, Rancho the River. This was the third piece of property that my father purchased at the end of World War II. And he'd been very fond of this farm prior to buying it because of its relationship to the Merced River. The Merced River runs at the south edge of this farm. Water management is something that a grower pretty much does with no outside influence. He uses the amount of water that he thinks he needs to use. What prevents him from using more? The cost of the water, the cost of procuring it. In some cases, that's pumping it out of the ground. That involves a lot of power costs. Growers aren't going to do that unless it's necessary. We pretty much use the gamut of approaches. We continue to flood irrigate. Flood irrigation is important to us because of our peach production. We can use other methods in peaches, but the best production comes from flood irrigation. Almonds, walnuts, sweet potatoes use drip irrigation, and in some of our nut orchards we use solid set sprinklers. So I think that's just about all of the ways to apply irrigation water that I know of. The irrigation is sort of a hybrid sprinkler. They're not the typical sprinkler with a hammer that causes the sprinkler to rotate. This is sort of a little gear drive unit, and it's useful here because the trees are planted on a fairly close distance to one another. We tend to go pretty much by the appearance of the trees, temperature, and of course all of our supervisors carry shovels in the back of their vehicles, and they're expected to dig holes when they're not sure what the moisture conditions are. On this particular farm, the water is coming out of the ground from a deep well. The rainfall was an absolute gift. The valley was parched. We were very, very short on irrigation water from the previous years. We had pretty much drained the reservoirs. Wells were going dry right and left. This winter took care of a lot of that. Behind me you'll see flood irrigation. This happens to be in an older almond orchard. The reason that we're not changing from flood irrigation now is because we'll wait until we remove the trees. At that time we'll remove all the pipe, etc., plant a new orchard and install irrigation system that isn't flood. It's divided up into things that we call checks that are 4 rows wide. And there's a little berm that contains the water, so that the irrigator is able to water just those 4 rows, and when he has introduced enough water, he moves the water forward to the next dry check. The shell is so hard to get through. This is the final size because the shell is not going to grow. So that's the size of the nut. I'm very happy with what I see. There's no voids, no spaces, so it's filled out nicely, and part of the reason is because of the flood irrigation.